Deck the halls indeed, and deck it with some incredible, great, terrific, outstanding food from Don's. The soft shell crab, the steak, the marinade, the potato loaded. Oh my, the charbroiled oysters. Does it get any better than Don's? I'm staring at the food. I can't help it because I love it. Ken Trahan, sportsNOLAtv. Merry Christmas to you one and all from Don's Seafood on Veterans Boulevard in Metairie. And we're so glad you've joined us this evening and hope that your Christmas goes wonderfully, that you have a great time, that you spend time with family and enjoy it immensely, as we always enjoy coming to you on Monday nights here on sportsNOLAtv with our family, which includes Torrance Small, former Saints wide receiver. Merry Christmas, my friend.
Merry Christmas, Ken, and Merry Christmas to all. That's why I wore the red. I wanted to be jolly today because I know we all are down because of the Saints game. But hey, I'm here, and Merry Christmas to all.
And I wore the green because I knew I'd be sitting next to you, and I figured you'd wear red, so we'd be absolute, positive, and Christmas spirit here today. Santa Claus, a.k.a. Brian Alley Walsh of sportsNOLA.com, is appropriately wearing red, wearing a hat. I'm just analyzing as I speak. And of course, he always has the beard. Brian,
that's right. I grow this for one day a year, and it's coming up in a couple of days. Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year. It's always great to be with the panel, and let's get it on.
And what's great about Brian is he doesn't even have to color that beard, okay?
That's right.
It's natural. It's the real deal. And appropriately dressed today in black after the Saints loss yesterday is Pro Football Hall of Famer Ricky Jackson. Merry Christmas, Ricky.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Ken. I tell you what, man, it's always good to be with these guys I'm with, man, and that's my Christmas present, being with these guys this Christmas.
What a nice guy, man. What a nice person. How do you top that, man? You know, I'm with you, buddy. It's all good. And the reality is it's genuine. We do genuinely like each other, and some really good people, and some people who treasure what Christmas is all about and treasure the time they'll spend, not only in their churches, wherever they may be, but also with their families. And really and truly, we understand what this time of the season is about. We hope you do too. And we're also glad you joined us on sportsNOLAtv, because when we return, we'll break down the Saints and the Panthers in Charlotte. Stay with us as we continue with the highlights in just a moment here on sportsNOLAtv. Courtesy of Don's Seafood. Look at the dressing on that soft shell crab. Back in a moment here on WHNO. Of all the things to point to this Saints 2013 season in terms of positives, you'd have to say that the Saints pass rush is the biggest positive and the biggest improvement over a year ago. Kudos to the defense as a whole, but this pass rush has been very, very good. Ken Trahan, sportsNOLAtv from Don's Seafood in Metairie. The Saints lose to the Panthers, drop to 10-5 on the year. And Brian, here's the reality of the situation. The Saints started 5-0. They're 5-5 since. They've been an average to mediocre football team since the start of the season.
Absolutely, and when you think that they had a 3.5 game lead after starting out 5-0 on the Panthers, and suddenly the Panthers have caught them, you know what? Because they have still much to play for, you don't want to call this a collapse. But they better start taking care of business because they're running out of time. And then the big C word does come into play, Kenny.
Well, I mean, it really does, and it conjures up images of two other seasons to me. Ricky would be familiar with 1988 when the Saints went 10-6 and lost a game at San Francisco, a very tough game late in the season, and got left out of the playoffs because the NFC was really good. This year's kind of the same way. The NFC is really good, and 10-6 could leave you out. It also reminds you of 2002 when the Saints lost their last 4 games and they had every chance to clinch, and they didn't get it done then. And Ricky, I know you were familiar with the 88 season, as I recall.
Yeah, but different than that, the Saints control their own destiny. So, I mean, you know, they take care of business this week and go and beat Tampa Bay, you know, you can forget about the whole thing. So, I mean, it's only if they lose the game that they would have something to worry about. So, anytime you control your own destiny, that's what you want in football.
In Torrance, they are at home, so you would think they'd take care of business, but they had a tough time with Tampa Bay previously. They've always had a tough time with the Buccaneers late in the season at home.
Yes, Tampa has always played us tough at home. It's always been very difficult for the Saints to get a win over these guys. But again, Ricky said, we control our own destiny right now. These guys just have to come out and play ball. You have something to play for. And understand, Tampa's going to come here because they got some guys that want to play. They thinking a new coach might be in, so guys have things to play for, and you have to be a professional about this thing. But we talked about it early in the season. It's a long season. We cannot get too excited, and we can't get too far down. And right now, they can't get down right now because of this loss. They have to keep getting themselves back up because you still have Tampa coming in.
Well, Brian, the thing that's obvious, and it's really understated or overstated, take your pick, depending on who you are, they're just not very good on the road. I mean, they're just not a very good football team on the road.
And these guys are absolutely right. Everything is still in front. They can still do some things, but they have to win Sunday. But the discouraging thing is they've had a chance to clinch a playoff berth the last 2 games against certainly a St. Louis team they should have beat on the road. And Carolina, they dominated them here. And you're absolutely right, Kenny. It's a different club when they go on the road.
Ricky, when you look at the game against Carolina, Saints dominated the stats in so many different facets, really seemed to control play, but the turnovers really hurt them. And you look at the numbers in this game, they dominated total yards, Rick. They dominated total plays, 81 snaps to just 44 for Tampa Bay. The number that you can't overcome, the turnovers and the sacks, those certainly hurt. Third down conversions, Carolina did not convert one. And time of possession, and they lost the game.
Well, I'll tell you what got us more the turnovers. I mean, the turnovers just really killed us in the ball game. And not only that, I mean, they had too much pressure on the quarterback. I mean, we let the quarterback take a beating over the weekend, and you can't do that. I mean, the team got a great quarterback. You got to protect that quarterback a little better.
All right, Breeze did not play well, Brian. I think we'd all agree to that, but he came through with a big drive when they needed it. I guess the big question would be this. To me, it's a domino effect. When you don't have confidence in your offensive line, particularly your blind side to protect you, you get jittery and you start making judgment errors. I think it's a domino effect, and I think Breeze knew that Armstead could not protect him. Why wouldn't you have made a change at halftime?
I don't know. This is what gets coaches in trouble sometimes, and we can go down the list. Players or coaches stick with players sometimes too long. I thought there might be a change, Kenny, but you know what? I don't know. How can you bring Charles Brown in right now? He's got to stay with Armstead, I think, to finish the season. But Ricky brought it up, Kenny.
But you could have brought him in at halftime. He blocked this guy 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I agree.
Go look at the stat sheet. He did nothing.
I agree.
Nothing against Charles Brown. Nothing.
I'm in total agreement with you. But I think what happens is that you cast your die with a player, and Sean's been very good about making changes when it's necessary. He claims he's going to stay. He will stay with Teron Armstead to finish out against the Bucs.
I thought it was a bad move. It's too deep in the season to change a left tackle.
Yeah,
maybe another position.
I agree with you.
But not now. This is what disturbed me more than anything, guys, was that they were trying to help this guy out. Why not do that with Brown?
Yeah.
You didn't have to get rid of Brown. You didn't have to put him on the sideline. Only thing you had to do is change your play call and change the offensive call at the line just to give him some help with a running back, a tight end, or shift the line to give him some help. Anything but put him down at this point of the year. At this point of the year, I didn't think it was right. Not now.
Well, I mean, I look at it the same way. I mean, but Coach thought maybe a bigger body would come in, a new younger guy would come in big and strong, that he would make a difference, Plus, he's looking for the future, so he wanted to give him a try, give him a shot, and I think that's what he did.
Well, now, what's interesting is that Saints fans become the biggest Atlanta Falcons fans that can possibly imagine. As, Brian, you look at what happens here, the Falcons can help the Saints not once but twice. They've got San Francisco on Monday Night Football coming up in about an hour or so. And even then, if they don't win that game, they got a chance to help the Saints next week because they host Carolina.
Kenny, it would be a monumental upset. I saw the early odds. It's like, well, it went from 12.5 to 14.5, where the Falcons are the underdog at home. It would be a monumental upset, but you know what? That's why they play the game.
Yeah, it's been some upsets this week. You know, if you look at it, it's been some upsets this week. So it's nothing that's out of reach. And there's nothing that, it might be surprising, but I don't think it's out of reach.
No, I mean, anytime you can, Arizona can go in and beat Seattle, anything can happen.
Yeah, there you go.
With 4 interceptions.
Four interceptions, Seattle in Seattle. Yeah.
Why? Because Arizona played great defense.
Yes.
They completely shut down Seattle's offense. When you play great defense, you have a chance. The Saints had a chance to win at Carolina because their defense played great, except for one play in the first half and one series in the second half. And that's all it took, because in the NFL, when you score 13 points, home or away, you're not going to win.
Kenny, you know, it would be interesting to see what our conversation would be like had they made that stop. Suddenly, the warts aren't as big and bad. Teron Armstead's performance isn't quite so bad had that defense helped. But that's why there's such a fine line between in this game.
And you're talking about fine line. Let's look at Corey White at the end. You know it's a blitz. I should be closer to that guy. I should be closer.
You got a condensed field, you got to bump and run.
Exactly. Well, one, you know it's a blitz. This ball going to have to come out quick, so I need to be close to him. If he's going to make this catch, it's going to have to be a great throw or a great catch.
And it's Dominic Hickson. It's not Steve Smith or Brandon LaFell.
Right. And another thing, too, we've got a Carolina with the worst day a quarterback can have. Cam Newton didn't look good at all. He stuck up the place, so we really should have blew them out.
Yes. Never mind. When you talk
They
about
were right to be beaten and beaten soundly.
Exactly.
But they weren't.
They had, I think Carolina had 7 3-and-outs.
7 3-and-outs, including 4 straight before the game-winning drive.
You know what?
I mean, it was remarkable.
Kenny Vaccaro's injury is, I think it's a big body blow to that defense. Because he provided so much more just on the field, but his enthusiasm, he's got a swag to him.
Too many injuries.
The 4 guys got up front, man, they played an excellent game. I mean, you know, you talk about the 2 ends, but the 2 guys in the tackle position, man, I don't know where those young guys come from, but boy, I tell you, the Saints really got a gold mine with those 2 guys.
Back to take a look at the NFL in just a moment as SportsNOLA TV continues from Don's Seafood, where the crowd is great because the food is great and the oysters are on the grill on WHNO. Our sportsNOLA.com trivia question of the evening. In spite of losses the last 2 weeks, the Saints have clinched a 5th 10-win season in 7 seasons under Sean Payton. That's pretty good, folks. How many 10-win seasons did the Saints have in the 39 years before Sean Payton arrived? Think about it. It's a matter of counting. It's not that hard to do so. I got it. Let's see if you can get it. Ricky would know a lot about that. He was here for a lot of that. Ken Trahan, SportsNOLA TV, as we continue from Don's Seafood in Metairie on Veterans Boulevard. Merry Christmas from Don's. Merry Christmas from us. Come on over and enjoy some Christmas fare at Don's. You will not be disappointed. Let's take a trip around the NFL and review the results of this past weekend from around the league. Of course, Buffalo shut out Miami when Miami desperately needed a win. Cincinnati rolled Minnesota as Dalton had 4 touchdown passes. Peyton Manning, a record-setting performance as Denver won at Houston. They keep the #1 overall seed at this point. Tennessee got by Jacksonville. Indianapolis, big win over Kansas City. That crushed the Chiefs' hope at a division title. The Jets, with Rex Ryan basically telling everybody he's fired, his players go out and win a game for him. St. Louis continue to play well. They beat Tampa Bay. And Dallas rallies past Washington 24-23. How do you like me now, Tony Romo? Giants over Detroit in overtime, 23-20. Detroit, biggest underachievers in my mind. Arizona, biggest result of the weekend. They go into Seattle and they win. New England with a statement victory over the Ravens, who have been playing well. Pittsburgh hurt Green Bay, winning by 7. San Diego doubled up Oakland to keep themselves alive. And Philadelphia just rolled Chicago, 2 teams that could be in the playoffs. Atlanta at San Francisco in the Monday night affair. As always, we like to pick out a game and talk about what we were most impressed with. And obviously, there were many games that we could point to. One that was very obvious, but Torrance, your take on what was most impressive.
Oh, I must say, Chicago and Philadelphia game. I thought it was a great game for Philadelphia. Chicago had the opportunity, as though the Saints had an opportunity to win in the division, and you give it up like that. And it was the way they gave it up. And Philadelphia, they're fighting. They're trying to win their division, and they're going into Dallas next week in Dallas on that turf with that offense. I'm going with Philly.
Brian?
I'll go to Arizona, beating Seattle up at the Seahawks Stadium against the 12th man. Going up there, Palmer throws 4 picks, and they hold Seattle and made Russell Wilson look like a second-year quarterback, which the Saints didn't do up there. So it shows that they can be beat, and it's Wilson's first loss at home as an NFL pro.
Arizona got the stop when they needed it late, which the Saints could not get. It's that simple. Ricky?
I'll tell you what, the coach, man, the coach been fighting all year and showing you that they got a good young team, young quarterback, and they just showed you yesterday where they just got a will to win. I mean, their coach went through a whole lot, and those guys still fighting up there.
I agree with all you. Those are the games I would have picked, but with that said, I'll give Dallas a little credit for coming back and winning a week after they lost a devastating game. And Tony Romo, again, answering critics that he can't get it done when the game's on the line. This time, he does, and they keep their hopes alive in the process. I don't think they're going to beat Philadelphia because they don't play defense, but I give them credit nonetheless. So as a result, the playoff picture with 1 week to go is still convoluted. A lot to be decided as we look at the NFC. Right now, your division winners would be Seattle, Carolina, Philadelphia, and Chicago. Keep an eye on the bottom two because that's where the Saints would end up going to one of those two ultimately if things hold. The Saints in San Francisco, the wild cards as we speak, still in the hunt. Arizona, and of course Dallas and Green Bay because of divisions, but Arizona, they're really playing well and they got a shot as a result. So as we look at that picture, Brian, the NFC picture is pretty clear. You would have thought that a playoff berth was secure for the Saints because Arizona had to play Seattle and San Francisco to end the season. Well, they took out one of them already.
They sure did, and I'll tell you what, Bruce Arians is showing what a really good coach he is. He did a great job filling in for Pagano up in Indianapolis, goes to Arizona and gets that team. We saw that team back 2 months ago, and you tell me that that was a 10-win team, I wouldn't have believed it at all.
Yes, it was just time. These guys brought this team together. They're all playing together. The one thing they have over there is defense. If you have defense, you give yourself an opportunity. The offense always takes a little time to develop and to catch up with the defense. But when you have a offense that gives up 4 turnovers and you're still able to win the game, that says a lot about the defense.
I tell you what, man, they got an old quarterback over there, and he got a lot of experience. He can't get away from the pass rush, and he made a whole lot of mistakes. So that just lets you know they got a good team. They can fight through 4 interceptions.
Well, it's pretty interesting because when Kurt Warner was their quarterback, he was an older quarterback, but I think he was better than Palmer is right now. In fact, they should have won a Super Bowl. They took the lead on Pittsburgh and should have won that Super Bowl with Warner. But Arizona is a capable football team. You cannot sleep on them at this point. Let's take a look at the AFC playoff picture because there are some things still gumming up the works there that haven't been decided, and Denver, of course, would be the 1 seed, but they got to win to clinch that because they lost to New England head-to-head. Cincinnati and Indianapolis are the other division leaders. Kansas City, well entrenched at 11-4. Miami blew it, but so did the Ravens. And here come the Chargers. And Pittsburgh's not out of it. And the team that gets my attention there are the Chargers. They're playing really good football right now, Brian.
I agree with you. Phillip Rivers is having as good a year as I can remember. And look, don't go to sleep on the Bengals, Kenny. Bengals at home have scored like 40-plus points in their last 4 games. I mean, that'll be a tough out in the divisional round.
I'll tell you what, man, I can't believe my home team went to sleep yesterday, Miami. I mean, just when I was at that Buffalo just night, I killed them 19-0. I'll tell you what, man, I was just bad.
We see that happen in Buffalo late in the season all the time. Teams go into Buffalo late in the season and they do nothing. I see that happen all the time.
It might be the temperature. What about Pittsburgh, guys?
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, did you see the way they started off the season and to be here the last game, still have a shot? That's amazing right
I'll tell you what, that great play by the coach on the sideline. I'm gonna come back and help him.
What do you call it? Playing or coaching?
Was it worth the fine? Was it worth the fine?
100,000. Oh yes, they get in the playoff.
They've hung in there. They've hung in there. Okay, question. Did you have a problem with Peyton Manning throwing a touchdown pass up 30-13 late in the game to get a record, Brian?
Oh, I'm not saying anything about Mr. Manning. Peyton, congratulations. I think you're wonderful. It's a good question. I don't know, these kind of moments, they come along once in a while. You never know what's going to happen, Kenny. I say go for it. It reminds me of Drew Brees against Atlanta a year ago or whatever. When they were going for the same thing. Look, these opportunities come once in a while, and I think people have to understand that they're going for career records here.
Yes, and I definitely think, you go for it. If you have an opportunity, go for it. It doesn't happen often. You go for it. Here's a guy that battled surgeries and neck injuries to come back and play at the level that he is playing at. Hey, one of the great, let him go for it. I say go for it.
If this is what you do, this is how you play the football game, this is what you do, and you've got to do it this way. look, the other team gets paid to stop
Yes.
the offense, okay?
Exactly.
And all they're doing is just staying within their game plan. And look, again, you know what? Peyton's going to have a chance to break Drew Brees' season record for most yards, too.
Needs 200 short.
All right, we owe you a break. We'll take that here when we return. It's our hot seat segment. You won't want to miss it. Christmas wish list is coming. Stay tuned. One of my wishes is to have a good dinner at Don's. The seafood fried is out of this world. Don't they know it? Back in a moment. Our sportsNOLA.com trivia question of the evening surrounds the success of the Saints under Sean Payton. How many 10-win seasons did the Saints have in the 39 years before Payton arrived? Do you know the answer? I do. Do you? Here's your shot. 5. There you go. And Mr. Jackson would have been acquainted with 4 of those. The other was in 2000 with Jim Haslett when he was Coach of the Year. Torrance Small was in on a little bit of the back end of that too, so that was great. And sportsNOLA continues from Don Seafood on Veterans Boulevard in Metairie. Ken Trahan with you. And it's time now for our hot seat segment where we bandy about a top topic of the day. And being that we are in the Christmas season, we take a different approach today. Our hot seat topic today is our Christmas wish list. Our wish list, especially for local area teams and coaches, is going to be our topic. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the man who stole Christmas, Santa Claus himself, not the Grinch, Mr. Walsh. Brian L.A. Walsh, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Trahan. This is going to be an abbreviated version of what I typically do at this time of year for our website, sportsNOLA.com, and I play Santa BAW, B-A-W. And so I'm going to give out a few presents here as we go along. To Saints and Coach Sean Payton, there are multiple presents under your tree and in your black and gold stocking this Christmas because Santa senses that you need spirits uplifted here. For starters, you guys will get a kick out of a left tackle who can protect Drew Brees' blind side. Maybe a whole heck of an offensive line to boot for the whole thing. A berth in the postseason, that's first and foremost. A timely turnover or 2, and if necessary, the resolve and fortitude to win on the road in the postseason, if that's where they have to go. But most of all, a trip to Super Bowl 48 on February 2nd at MetLife Stadium in the Meadowlands. And Santa promises to strike a deal with Mother Nature and arrange for a good, nice, sunny, chilly day on February the 2nd. All right, for the rest, I want to talk to my colleagues here, to Ricky and Torrance. This comes from Brian L.A. Walsh, not Santa Ball. Gentlemen, I give to you a can of Spam. Now, you may laugh, but this is good Spam. And look, just use a little because it goes a long way in a hurry. But seriously, keep your good, wonderful work up in the community and continue to represent yourselves, your faith, and your saints in a fine light as you go about your daily endeavors. And to my friend and colleague, Kenny Trahan, as well, a can of Spam, all right? And more hours in the day for you, Dr. Trahan, for you to be able to find time to relax, unwind, and yes, sleep and still go about your busy work schedule. Merry Christmas to all.
Very good. Appreciate that, Santa.
I mean that, gentlemen.
Yes, we appreciate it. Let you off the hook today.
All right, okay.
We can't jump on you today.
No, you can't.
No. My wish list. I have a wish list. I had the opportunity to go see Tulane play this weekend, and I wish Curtis Johnson. I'm hoping that they can get some great players, some great recruiting this year. And the biggest one on the wish list, Fournette. I hope you get Fournette. It's a wish list. I hope you can get Fournette and land him. But next year, I hope Tanner Lee is your quarterback. I know you're looking for a solid quarterback to come in there. I hope Tanner Lee can come in and fill the shoes for you and be the guy that can lead this team and hopefully take us to a better bowl and better bowl next year.
Well, you know, my thing is, I hope, you know, I'm always hoping for the Saints can get to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. But for all the college teams, man, that's in Louisiana, you know what I mean, I hope that they can keep a lot of local talent there where their schools can get better. I mean, even the Grambling, the Southern, you know, you hope all those guys can get, you know, they program and stuff together. And that's what you look for more than anything. Look for a Louisiana team going to play the other teams from around the country and being able to compete and do well.
Yes. That's big, Rick. A lot of these young guys have opportunity to work with a lot of these young guys out here, and we just like to see them be able to stay home, not go to these other states and make these other teams better. Keep our local teams better here. The University of Louisiana, La Tech, Gramblings, the Southerns, the Tulanes, Coach CJ over there, Southeastern. Yes, we love to see those guys here, and we love to go. Hey, I didn't have nothing vested into Tulane UL game this weekend. I just went to support Tulane. So I definitely love to go out and support some of the local kids.
Good job. Well stated. Good wishes. I'm very impressed. Time now to render some judgment. My wish list is very simple. For UL, keep Coach Mark Hudspeth. He's a terrific football coach who's done a remarkable job at building an excellent program. 3 straight bowl wins for the Ragin Cajuns. For SLU, keep Coach Roberts. He's done a remarkable job in a short period of time to get a team a championship in a conference and to get them to postseason play and nearly win again to get deeper into the playoffs. So again, to keep him. Where the pro teams are concerned, where the Saints are concerned, obviously, final left tackle and home for the holidays. That's the only mixture that's going to succeed. For LSU, Leonard Fournette. That's your real wish list, is Leonard Fournette for LSU, because that's realistic, and that would make LSU a very solid football program because he's great. And then as far as Tulane is concerned, an offensive line for Curtis Johnson, because I don't care who you put behind it, you got to have better offensive line play, although I do think they need better quarterback play, and Tanner Lee has to be that answer. I think they'll do everything they can to get him ready to play for next season. And for Monty Williams, a center. I mean, clearly they keep trying. Ajinka's their latest effort. Jason Smith's a backup. They don't have a center. They've got some nice pieces that can score. They don't defend well enough, and they can't hurt you at all at the 5 spot. I hope they can get a center without having to trade Ryan Anderson, because it seems to me that that would be the piece that is being dangled and the piece that other people would want. If they can keep Anderson and get a center, then I like their chances. If not, they're missing the playoffs again. They're in the lottery again, and we're wishing good things for them in the future. But I think that's a fairly safe wish list, and I think it's okay. I really do.
And Kenny, I'll tell you what, another thing for the Pelicans, how about a win in this Western Swing? They're 0-7 on the Western Swing this year. Yeah. They need to beat Sacramento tonight.
Well, I mean, you know, I got season ticket holder for the Pelicans, but I'll tell you what, man, you got to get your guard play that play more consistent. I mean, and that's the whole thing. You got to play defense. A lot of guys just shooting the ball. You know what I mean? It's a team sport, so they got to make sure they pass the ball to the right guy. But everybody's just firing the ball up right now.
Well, let's be honest. Gordon's an average shooting guard. He's not what they paid him. Holiday has shown things and had good moments, but he can play better. Evans is a streak guy off the bench, but he can't shoot. So they need better guard play as well. I agree with you 100%. We got to take a break. We'll do that here. We'll continue in just a moment to break down the colleges as we continue with sportsNOLA from Don's Seafood in Metairie, where the steak is awesome, the potatoes are great. We'll eat some soft shell crab in just a little bit, and we'll season it as well on WHNO. sportsNOLA.com is the best site on the web, and I know you'll enjoy it. If you haven't been there, go there. Redesign coming up shortly. I know you'll enjoy that too, but it's easy to navigate all the time to find what you're looking for, from Saints to Pelicans to LSU to Tulane to all the Louisiana colleges to UNO to Loyola, Xavier, Dillard, and everybody locally as well. High school sports galore. It's everything you want. sportsNOLA.com. College football was a big weekend in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. Record crowd and quite a game, although it didn't start off that way. Elijah McGuire, big play man for UL. He's going to get in 27 yards. First ruled out of bounds at the 1. Replay shows he scored. And the freshman from Vanderbilt Catholic's awfully good. And look at this as he reached his zone and scores at the pylon, got the ball across one more time. Good replays and good play. Touchdown, McGuire, and UL leads 7-0. And then a bad mistake by Nick Montana. Just looked him down, and Corey Trim waits on it, picks it off, 82-yard return for a touchdown. And all of a sudden, the Ragin Cajuns are all over Tulane, 21-0. It looks like a blowout is in progress, but Tulane would fight back with Devin Powell at quarterback, and Orleans Darkwa running the ball. Darkwa, one of 3 touchdowns that he would score as the MVP of the game in a losing cause, cuts the lead to 21-14 at halftime. Tulane's back in the game, and then Terrence Broadway playing with a broken bone in his wrist. Ill-advised throw. Derek Strozier picks it off. Tulane's been a takeaway machine this year, and Strozier gets it back into scoring position with this pick and go to Darkwa right away. That's a good idea. This play's well blocked, and he makes it through that hole in great shape. Touchdown, Tulane. We're tied 21-21. It's anybody's game, but ultimately it would come down to one big mistake by Devin Powell. Under pressure, just a terribly ill-advised throw. How can you just throw that ball up down the middle? And that killed Tulane. As Sean Thomas of St. Augustine with his second interception of the game. Powell gets up a little bit gimpy. What a job by Thomas in his return to New Orleans. And then Hunter Stover of UL for the lead. And wow, that's not him, that's Cairo Santos. So Santos with a miss after Stover had given them the lead. Curtis Johnson tries to bend it in. Didn't happen. It's a shame to see Santos' outstanding career end that way. Mark Hudspeth's excited, as well he should be, as UL has defeated Tulane 24-21. Highly entertaining game. Record crowd of over 54,000. And the Ragin Cajuns, well, they're the champions of New Orleans, the kings of New Orleans. They've won 3 straight R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowls, and a very good game as it turned out. And probably the kind of game you wanted to see between 2 teams that were closely contested going in, and they certainly proved to be that way.
Kenny, I tell you what, I think somebody forgot to tell Tulane the kickoff was at 8 p.m. It's a shame because they really controlled for the last 2.5 quarters, correct? I mean, they did a good job defensively. And Kenny, I think you're absolutely right. Obviously, Curtis has got this program going in the right direction. And next year, it's going to probably be taken over by another quarterback. And they're going to have to keep filling the holes with recruits. And Curtis, but Curtis, as long as Tulane keeps giving him resources to continue the building process, I think Curtis is going to be an excellent, excellent coach at Tulane.
Difference in the game, Torrance, very simple. Tulane gave them 2 scores, and they gave Tulane 1 score.
Yes, you can't turn the ball over like that. I went to the game, it was very down for Tulane, that is, in the early part of the game. A lot of people were threatening to leave. We were threatening to leave early, but I said I want to hold out, and they turned the thing around. They made a game of it. It was a win for the city. The one team that did win was New Orleans.
Well, I mean, one thing Curtis did get out of the game, I mean, he see that his young guys didn't quit. And that was the most important thing about the whole ball game. But when they went down 21-0, they came back fighting and roaring back. And that's what you're looking for. But, I mean, losing to Lafayette, those guys, they had to won some good ball games this year. So I was looking for them to beat Tulane and beat them a lot worse than they did. But Tulane had a chance to win that ball game. I mean, at the end of the ball game, Tulane gave well about a minute there without doing anything when they should have, played that clock a little better.
You look, we had a 6-2 Tulane team. Kenny ended up 7-6. They lose 41-13 to ULL last year. So they've closed the gap. Right. Yeah. They've closed the gap. All right,
we'll take a time out here. When we return in just a moment, a Christmas treat from Don's Seafood. We're looking forward to that. We're getting a gift from Don's, and we're sure looking forward to it. And you're sampling some of it as we speak. Don's Seafood, 4801 Veterans Boulevard in Metairie. Call 889-1550 for 80 years. It's a family-owned restaurant that serves you with a proud tradition of Cajun cuisine and fresh, delicious Louisiana seafood. Don's has stood the test of time because the product is superior. It's that simple. You can trust the Landry family, and you can trust them because of some great food which you're going to find out about in just a moment. Prep Recruiting Insider. New episodes resume Wednesday, January 8th with Ro Brown and Renee Nato breaking it down as National Recruiting Signing Day draws nearer. And Ray Bryant presents the John Forcade Show with Mike Detillier, Thursday, 6 p.m. from Ray Bryant Automotive. You won't want to miss it as they get you ready for the football weekend. Ken Trahan, sportsNOLAtv from Don Seafood, where the food is awesome. You want to know how good? Let's just show you. How's that? Alyssa's coming in, and she's bringing Christmas cheer. Now, you want Christmas cheer? Thank you, Alyssa. That's awesome. Well done. You're talking about mahi-mahi with crab meat. You're talking about soft shell crab with crawfish dressing, and I'm not going to get any of this because these guys are already killing it. What's up
He
with
doesn't
that?
need utensils at
I
all.
still got Alyssa. She's going to take care of me when this is over with. I'm just going to watch you guys destroy this. And I'm just going to listen to you tell me how good it is. Okay? That's an editorial comment. This is it. Amen and hallelujah there. And what about Mr. Rick?
Great.
Great.
Outstanding.
Outstanding,
It
great.
really is.
Got a word?
Excellent.
Excellent.
Would you mind, my friend?
Superb. It's Don's.
Yes.
You want to know what you're missing? You need to come here. Don's Seafood, 4801 Veterans in Metairie between Clearview and Transcontinental. All right, guys, Saints and the Buccaneers as the food gets devoured. Brian, Saints, Buccaneers, what do you think?
Well, I like the Saints to rebound
Okay.
nicely. Being home, they're going to take care of business. Unfortunately, they're going to go in as a 5 or 6 seed, so we'll see what happens.
George?
I'm with the Saints. Hopefully we can get somebody, we can get Carolina to lose out there. Maybe we get an outside shot to get an opportunity to get the home field.
Come on, Atlanta, do your job one week. You know I like the Saints.
I like the Saints to win the game too and clinch a playoff berth. I don't think Carolina will stumble, unfortunately, at Atlanta. I hope I'm wrong, but we'll see. But still, a win would be 11 wins. That's a dramatic improvement over a year ago, and it's a playoff berth. So let's hope it comes to fruition. Merry Christmas to you guys, one and all. As always, a pleasure.
Christmas, my friend.
God bless you and your families too.
Merry Christmas, you guys.
Always a pleasure. I want to thank the entire crew. I want to thank all of our listeners and viewers for being with us. Now, this is Ken Trahan from Don Seafood. Thanks for joining us and be a good sport. Merry Christmas, one and all. Rounding third and heading home. So long.
Blink.